Welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and this is the Mayastar Podcast. I teach energy healing courses online through Mayastar Academy, share spiritual guidance and mystical musings on the Maya Muses blog, and provide healing, ritual and spellcasting services. As a star-seeded shaman and professional witch, and today is episode 48 in the Mayastar Unscripted series, and we're going to be discussing ways to align with your divine inheritance, to connect with the source of abundance and open your life up to the blessings the universe intends for you. At the end of this episode, I'll be drawing from the Lemurian Star Child Oracle for our Starseed Guidance segment, where I'll present some ideas for reflection and meditation, and you can view the card for this episode's Oracle on the Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel by going to the channel homepage and then to the Community Posts tab. Find out about the different ways you can work with me and discover my energy healing and spiritual development courses by visiting my website at mayastar.net. You can also join the Mayastar mailing list to stay up to date with the latest special offers. As usual, I come armed with notes but without a script, so we'll be meandering around these topics and pursuing the scenic route to enlightenment. If this sounds interesting to you, stick around and while away some time with me as we explore these things together. So sit back, relax your shoulders, take a sip of chamomile tea, exhale deeply, and let's explore. So this week, I've been focusing on manifesting and connecting with the source of abundance and the law of attraction through my energy work. And when we talk about manifesting abundance, it's easy to imagine this is just wishful thinking, kind of a childish exercise where you might visualize a yacht and suddenly a yacht shows up on your doorstep. Although in my case, if a yacht showed up on my doorstep, that would be pretty useless to me because I don't live at the coast and I can't sail a yacht. But I suppose then be careful what you wish for. But anyway, my point is that you don't just visualize something and all of a sudden it's there. In fact, we can consider ourselves quite lucky that there is a gap between the effort we put into aligning with the things that we want and them showing up. Because if you think about the things that you conjure up in your mind throughout the day, how many natural disasters would have befallen you by lunchtime? Most of us wouldn't make it till dinner time if all of our imaginings and visualizations came true, without a gap and without us really putting some energy into it. So be glad that things don't show up in an instant like that, because we'd be absolutely paranoid and continuously guarding our thoughts if things happened just because we thought about them. But we all have times where we feel like we're doing everything right with regard to our manifesting practice. We might be journaling, using a gratitude journal, performing daily affirmations, new moon rituals, creating vision boards and all those kinds of things. And you could be doing this every single day, but somehow it's just not clicking. Somehow it just doesn't seem to be working, and you don't feel like you're getting any closer, or you don't feel like you're aligned with the things that you intend to see in your life. You really don't feel that they are possible. You don't feel that they're any more possible while you're trying to align with them than if you weren't. And I think really one of the most important things when you're facing those kinds of blocks is to change your routine. And for me, that's often a case of working with different energy healing techniques. So, for example, you might be working with the violet flame and using the decrees and affirmations with the violet flame each day in your manifesting practice, and feel like you're getting nowhere, but then decide to switch the energy you're connecting with and perhaps choose to work with something like the abundance affinity attunement system or the good fortune prosperity Reiki course, or just changing the energy that you're connecting with. And that can really make all of the difference. As they say, a change is as good as a rest. Sometimes that is all you need, because you're just really getting focused on one thing, repeating the same steps, and all you need to do is change that routine and it sets the energy in motion again. Another problem that you can face when you're focusing on manifesting and it doesn't seem to be showing up is that you are still energetically committed to old goals that don't align with what you're trying to create in the present. Like you're still hanging on to some old ideas, old experiences, even just negative experiences you've had that make you feel like it's very difficult to achieve the things you want to achieve. And you're holding on to all of that old programming, which is basically cancelling out your best intentions in the present. And often we don't even realise that we're doing that. We don't notice it because sometimes that old programming is completely unconscious. And it might be that there are negative experiences that we feel we've left behind. Maybe they're decades ago, these negative experiences, and we feel like we've put a lot of distance between ourselves and those difficult times, but we've never consciously released the energetic debris that builds up. And that energetic debris takes away energy in the present, because just to keep it present requires some level of energy, even when you're not conscious of it. That's why karmic clearing and things like the Killing Moon Karmic Reversal 30-day ritual intensive, which I offer, can have a powerful effect on healing your energy field, because it works to clear away those negative frequencies, including those that you're not conscious of, including those that have just been left there because you haven't consciously released them. If you're interested in any sort of karmic clearing magical work and rituals that I offer, you can find more information about those in the description box below this episode by following the link to the Maya Magical website. But while you've got those negative, or they don't even have to be completely negative, it's just if they're in opposition to what you're trying to create in the present, then they're sort of diverting your energy in a different direction, so nothing's properly landing. So one part of you is saying things like, oh, I'm ready for success. I'm ready for love and I'm ready to live my best life. But deep down, things are a bit different, and in the background, silently, in ways you're not quite aware of, you're thinking, I don't really deserve this. That's not for people like me. Who do you think you are? That, or doing yourself down, just really indulging in low self-esteem and a lack of confidence. So you're sort of reinforcing your own limitations, but in ways that you're not conscious of. It's all running in the background in a kind of automatic way. And it's subtle, but it's powerful because those messages may have been repeating since childhood. They may be tied to traumatic experiences we had as children that have shaped the way we viewed ourselves as we aged. And if you'd never address it, it's very difficult to leave it behind properly. Another thing that can block you is this idea that I've seen it quite a lot online, and mostly it makes me laugh, but it does make me sad because people are perpetuating these restrictive ideas, but implying that the 3D reality that we live in is somehow less sacred and less spiritual than floating around in some abstract 5D energetic plane where your consciousness is more expanded and you don't care about the 3D reality because it's complete nonsense to you. I feel like if you start to separate your 3D reality from your access to 5D consciousness, you're really missing the point. The whole point of achieving higher consciousness is to bring information and wisdom through that can help you to live a successful and meaningful life on the 3-dimensional plane. So if you find yourself resistant to living in the physical world, or thinking of those things as being less important, less sacred than your spiritual practice, your life, your 3D reality, that is your spiritual practice. The way you live your life is part of the expression of your soul. And until you appreciate that, you're going to be blocked from any kind of worldly success. Once you realize that everything around you is a reflection of the divinity within, finding a unique expression through the way you live your life, it's all part of a creative flow. You can almost feel the energy coming through you and out into the world around you. And then you start to appreciate that all of this is energy. Even the things that are so apparently solid within 3D reality are essentially just energy in a different form, resonating at a different frequency that makes them tangible to us while we're accessing 3D consciousness. If you were to ascend to 5D, completely out of 3D and having nothing to do with the 3-dimensional world, you'd be dead. You do realize that. So, that's not the spiritual progress that you're thinking about. But it is absurd. If you see people saying those kinds of things online, please do set them straight, because I can't help thinking that when people are really focused on how they want to be away from the 3D world and 3D consciousness, they're creating such a conflict within themselves, and it would block you from being able to bring healing energy through. in ways that would be meaningful and useful. You can't manifest anything. You can't manifest healing if you're resistant to the outward 3D expression of that energy, of that divine light. You're bringing it down into a physical form when you're using energy healing. And the same thing goes when you're working with manifesting techniques and you're manifesting abundance, prosperity, beauty, happiness, whatever it is you're trying to bring through and express in the physical world. You need to appreciate the sacredness of the 3D world for that to be successful at all. You need to be able to see that things are the way they are because that's how they're supposed to be. Resisting the way they are would be folly. You'd be really wasting your energy and wasting the opportunity of physical incarnation. We're not here to escape the world, you know. We're here to transform it, to change it from the inside out. We're here to bring through spiritual truth into the real world, into our lives in ways that make sense and that matter. So we're not trying to bypass reality. We're trying to create it. We're trying to live in alignment with it. So when you do feel blocked, usually this is experienced as feelings of being cut off, but it can also show up as feelings of self-doubt or a fear of success. It's sort of like those thoughts and feelings we have that come from resistance. Now, everyone has some level of resistance to change because change is uncomfortable when you're doing something new. You're trying to do things that you're not completely confident about, so it can make you feel very uncomfortable. But it's important not to resist that discomfort, to appreciate that that's the space that you're growing into. So things like self-doubt, things like a fear of success, and all of that negative self-talk where you're trying to sabotage yourself, hold yourself back. Often it's just inspired by that feeling of discomfort, but the discomfort is there to motivate you. The discomfort is there to remind you that you're doing something completely new. And the time will come when it's not completely new and that discomfort fades away. Just because something's difficult today doesn't mean it will be difficult next week. So keep at it. We can also feel disconnected from our intuition. So we can feel like our inner spiritual GPS is switched off and we don't know which way to turn, that kind of thing. So if you're finding that you're feeling disconnected, I think energy healing is a very powerful technique to help with that kind of thing. The ritual of connecting with spiritual energies through energy healing techniques can send a powerful message to your mind and to your unconscious mind about your intentions and what you want to align yourself with. So there are quite a few energy healing systems that would work well in this capacity, but one that I've recently added to the Mayastar syllabus this year is the Divine Inheritance Flush Empowerment. And this is a really powerful system to connect with because your spiritual inheritance is a soul level blueprint of wholeness, of radiance and infinite potential that you were born with. It's your framework of possibilities. And by working with systems like the Divine Inheritance Flush, you're clearing away any blocks that are holding you back from connecting with that wisdom from your higher self, that higher appreciation of the nature of your spiritual reality. And when you clear away all of the interference and the blocks and the restrictive thinking and everything, you're able to reconnect with that frequency. Then magic can happen. Then things can really start flowing. So that's one that I've been working with recently because I've just added it to the website. But there are others that you might consider, like the abundance affinity attunement, which I mentioned earlier, which was channeled through the goddess Kuan Yin. So it has quite a nurturing and expansive energy to it. And that's great for setting your intentions and emotionally aligning with the possibilities. There's the diamond of prosperity, which I think is like an energetic antenna that connects your energy field with higher possibilities. It's kind of like generating a magnetic aura that helps you to stay in alignment with the frequency of success. So it's another great energy to work with. There's the Good Fortune Prosperity Reiki course, which I talked about only a few episodes back, I think. But that's also a great one. That's really focused on reprogramming your energetic DNA so that you can attract abundance without needing to micromanage the process. Helps you to fully integrate those high frequency energies. So that's a very comprehensive energy to connect with. But I do recommend that. It's very popular as well. That was always one of the most popular in the abundance category, the Good Fortune Prosperity Reiki course. But if you want an even more comprehensive energy healing practice, there's the Manifestation Guidance Program, which is a journey of 12 attunements. And they guide you through the process of manifesting. They help you to address each component, clarifying your desires, setting your intentions, energetically aligning with your goals. And it's so comprehensive. If you're a beginner with manifesting work, that would be a great option. But because of the 12 attunements, it can really be a powerful energetic boost for your spiritual practice when it comes to manifesting. But remember, when you're manifesting, it's not all about wishing for yachts, if that's your thing. Not mine. That would be a total disaster. But whatever you're manifesting, whatever you're seeking to manifest, whether it's health, happiness, security, emotional balance, all of these things are massive achievements and things that we might choose to manifest. Like it does get a bad rap, the manifesting mindset, but it isn't all about consumerism and trying to have more and wanting to be rich and that kind of thing. Being a success in your life is just being the best person that you can be, It's just trying to be in the optimal position for yourself, not comparing yourself with others, not wanting to be seen to be better than other people or that kind of thing. It's just about being able to align with your highest potential. And if you're not currently aligned with your highest potential, looking at the steps that will take you closer to that higher potential. Choosing the habits that will help you to get there. Things like affirmations, prayers, journaling, and energy work, or visualization, everything that you can do to help you connect with those possibilities and overcome the things that are blocking you from connecting with them. Consistency in your practice is more powerful than any practice. Like if you can do something every single day and really bring your energy to it, really bring your focus to it, not just sit there thinking, oh yeah, it's time to do my affirmations while you're secretly running through your shopping list or anything in the back of your mind, It happens, but what you really need to be doing is showing up with your full energy, your full focus. And it would be better to do it for 5 minutes every single day than to perform a 3-hour ritual once a month for the same purpose. And the reason is by repeating it every day, you're creating a kind of momentum. You're keeping your energy checking in at a particular frequency, reminding yourself where you want to be. You'll actually find, if you look at the Maya Magical website, you'll see that a lot of my spells use that principle. Some of the extended rituals where I'm performing the spell 30 times on consecutive days, the amount of energy that builds up for those rituals is incredible. And there isn't any shortcut to it. It just has to be done every day. And because I do it professionally, obviously I make the time and create the space for myself to observe those rituals. And obviously I'm working on behalf of other people. So it's very important that that time is already allocated and set aside for those extended rituals. So if I could give you one piece of advice, it would be to choose a practice that you can be consistent with. If you can be consistent with gratitude journaling, do that. If you can be consistent with visualization, perhaps it's easy to fit in while you're on the tube on the way to work or something like that, then choose that. But just make sure it's something that fits into your routine and that you can be consistent with. Because even a small shift in your energy, if you repeat it every day, could completely change your life. And that's really what I wanted to communicate today, is that these massive life transformations, they happen when you make them happen, when you create the possibility for them to happen. And if you're feeling like they're not possible, then what can you change in the present to make them possible in the future? And if you feel really stuck and it all seems a bit too complicated, I recommend working with an energy healing technique, because later on, if you build upon your daily rituals like affirmations or gratitude journaling, you'll be able to connect with those energy healing techniques that support your manifesting goals and help you to align with the law of attraction to really amplify the effects of your manifesting rituals, whatever form they take. You don't have to beg the universe, and you don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to demonstrate your worthiness, because you already are worthy, and that is your divine inheritance. You just have to tune into that mindset. You just have to remember and re-establish that connection with the universe so that you can really appreciate it. If you want to go deeper into this subject, I'll be writing a full blog article based on the notes that I've set out for today's episode. So that will be up on the Maya Muses blog. It'll be probably a couple of blogs back by the time you hear this podcast, because these episodes are pre-recorded and scheduled for the future, but stay up to date with the latest musings and find the most detailed guidance with all my tips and tricks and everything by visiting the Maya Muses blog at blog.mayastar.net when we're finished here. But now it's time for the Starseed Guidance segment, where we seek some spiritual inspiration for the week, drawn from the Lemurian Star Child Oracle, which I use to connect with my Lemurian spirit guides. And these readings are intended for you to use as a jumping off point for your spiritual practice, or just something to meditate on for today. And today's card is titled Family of Light. As always, it's a very beautiful card with very much a holy guardian angel feel to it. It's mostly blue and white. There's some foliage silhouetted against the light. It gives the idea of spiritual light being translated into the physical realm and 3D manifestation. I can't think why. I might be reading this card based on what we've been talking about, I must admit. Yeah, okay, there's an energy body of a figure that's meditating, and above it you can see lights ascending to the higher planes. And one of those lights corresponds with the heart chakra of a winged angelic being standing behind them. So it has a strong feeling of healing and spiritual support. And the foliage I mentioned, it gives me the impression of perhaps a family tree, maybe a connection to ancestors and spiritual supporters that can offer us guidance and provide us with healing. But let's have a look and see what the guidebook says. Okay. Right, the guidebook says signs, guidance, innate and ancient wisdom, new blessings, divine initiations, and it lists some angel numbers, so see if these mean something to you today. 1111, 1234, 2222, and 4444. I allow the angels to speak to me through the numbers on the clock and in many other ways. Have you noticed the signs from your family of light? These angels and guides show you numbers, gestures and symbols to give you guidance. They give you colours, fragrances and reflections of light to make you feel loved, inviting you to connect to your heart. Perhaps a bird starts to communicate with you, or you have a meaningful dream or vision that shows you the next step on your path of light. You are invited to open your heart to your light family. You might feel let down by them or feel that they are demanding. Know that it is understandable that you bring your human emotions into the embrace of their unconditional love. Your emotions will be received with compassion because your light family loves you unconditionally and they understand the suffering within the old paradigm. I think that's very pertinent to what we've been talking about today. How we bring our limitations, our emotions and experiences to our spiritual practice when they're very much understandable but not relevant. to those higher aspects of ourselves. So perhaps that's something to think about today. If you want to spend some time connecting with your higher self or with your angelic guides, think about the emotions and the thoughts, the habits of thinking, the beliefs that you've held on to that really reinforce a sense of lack or limitation, and bring those to your spiritual practice today to ask that they can be clarified or cleansed as appropriate. Have some light shone on those shadows. It also says here, when you feel let down, then allow your family of light to give to you by opening your heart to your needs without limiting your abundance. Everything is given to you in divine synchronicity. By letting go of who you are in the eyes of others, you connect to who you are in the eyes of your family of light, which is your true self. Another beautiful message from the Lemurian Star Child Oracle, and an affirmation that you might want to work with today. I open my mind, expand my vision, and receive the light and love of my divine family. As usual, I'll be posting an image of this card on the Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel in the community post section, so you can check it out there and see if it resonates with you today. But take only what resonates with you from today's guidance and leave the rest behind. If you've enjoyed today's Unscripted, please let me know in the comments. Give the podcast a like or a 5-star review so that the algorithm can get some idea of what sort of audience they should be sharing these episodes to. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you're leaving this episode suffused with good vibes and great ideas. I hope to see you back here again soon, and in the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.